As a fun little way to celebrate reaching this milestone on YouTube, I actually wanted to take a moment to share with you all a couple of my biggest failures in life. Hey everyone, I am recording this video from the terrace of my hotel in Rome, where I have been for the last week attending not only the Jubilee for the World of Communications at the Vatican, but also a related communications conference, or a conference for Catholic communicators, which was held at the Pontifical University here. But more importantly, I wanted to, or maybe not more importantly, actually much less importantly, but more personally, I wanted to record this video as a thank you, little celebratory video for reaching 20,000 subscribers on YouTube. I am blown away by that. It feels rather surreal. That being said, despite the surreal feelings, I am beyond grateful, truly immensely grateful, that you would spend your precious time in my little corner of the internet. So thank you to anyone who has subscribed, and if you're new here, welcome. My name is Noah Braden. I am a Catholic writer and filmmaker trying to look behind the screens and trying to help others develop a healthier relationship with digital technology along the way. If this is something that interests you, I encourage you to check out my Behind the Screens playlist, which has a collection of some of my favorite videos along this line of thinking. So the more I reflect on the use of social media, the more I have become acutely aware of the disproportionate amount of content that favors either extremely positive or extremely negative realities. And I think that the algorithm is designed to polarize and in many senses push people to the extremes. But I don't think that life reflects that, or rather, I should say, I don't think that life needs our lives do not need to reflect that reality. So rather than only sharing the positive, I wanted to contrast that a little bit with a dose of reality and share about some of the larger failures that I have made, not only recently, but sort of throughout my life and throughout my career. Okay, so the first failure that I want to share with you was actually during one of my undergraduate speech classes. The first speech class that I ever took, I failed my first speech that I ever gave. I was not only so nervous and anxious that I struggled to remember my opening lines, but I also gave just such a poor performance that, well, I don't know if I deserved an F, but I certainly deserved a C minus or below. So I say that as someone who is very comfortable writing, and someone who is very comfortable with words, and someone who's very comfortable in conversation, at least with individuals or small groups. But speaking in front of a crowd truly terrified me. It gave me such bad anxiety that I couldn't perform at a level that was even adequate, let alone good or impressive. So, while I certainly haven't gotten to the impressive level yet, I have been actively working to improve these speech skills. In fact, this is probably one of the reasons that I started this YouTube channel, was to sort of develop a greater sense of confidence just talking ad hoc, presumably to a large group of people. Well, that's stunning. And hopefully, eventually, that will lead to being better in public speaking situations as well. So I say that because I want to encourage you, as someone who just reached what is a fairly large milestone on YouTube, having failed his first speech class. So if you relate more to me as an undergrad failing speech class, I think there is hope. And yeah, take heed. So that's the first one. The next failure that I want to discuss, the next big loss that I think is worth highlighting here as I celebrate, is something that occurred after I landed a big interview at a local advertising firm that I was very keen to work with as a writer and editor, or in some capacity similar to those things. And at this time, I was very early in my career, and it would have been a huge break for me. So in this case, interesting enough, I had the opposite problem, I suppose, as I did with the failed speech. My confidence, dare I say my arrogance, got the better of me. And after what I felt was a really strong and promising interview, when I discovered that I did not, in fact, get the job, I took it upon myself to go back through the website and highlight in an email to the CEO and president of the company all of the mistakes, grammatical inconsistencies, and branding irregularities that I discovered on the website. Now, to be fair, I didn't do this to be malicious. I actually did this because I thought that it would be something that would be impressive and different enough to capture their attention and perhaps make them reconsider their decision. It did not. So this backfired on me majorly. And the person, the family friend, a dear friend of ours, who actually helped me get the interview, gives me a call not long after I sent that email. And he respectfully and lovingly laid into me about how unprofessional I was and how that was disrespectful and really just a bad professional move, especially as someone who was trying to get established in a city as a creative professional. So needless to say, that backfired, and needless to say, I did not get the job. I did, however, get a very humbling lesson, a good reminder that regardless of how talented you think you are, it doesn't in any way negate the necessity of being human and relational and empathetic to the other, regardless of their level of seniority. And this was a lesson that was hard learned for me. I had a lot to prove. I had a chip on my shoulder, and I was out to get the world. And if they didn't recognize me as the talent that I recognized myself as prematurely and arrogantly and naively and all of those other derogatory adjectives that you would like to throw in there, those are adverbs. I did major in English. I should know better. In any case, the point stands. So it was a humbling lesson. I did not get the job. And in fact, I think it set me back a year or two in one sense, or at least back from where I might have been otherwise. But it did teach me a valuable lesson, one that I have not forgotten, and one that I thought I would share with you all now as I celebrate the 20,000 subscriber mark here on YouTube. I want to reflect on some of the important losses that I encountered along the way because they helped shape me into who I am. And I think it's dishonest in a sense to present only my wins without also presenting the array of losses that have certainly occurred throughout my life. So that's number two. All right. So the last one, the third failure, the third loss that I want to mention here is particularly relevant because it is creative in nature. And that relates to my childhood dream and constant desire to be a published author of fiction. And I've been fortunate enough to have several articles published. I have had countless journalistic pieces published, but I have always been chasing and never able to attain what has actually been my underlying motivation for the majority of my creative work. And in many senses, one of the motivations for starting this YouTube channel in the first place was to build up an audience that could eventually be one that I present my writing to, or one that I test out my writing on. And I think that's what I do a lot of times through the video essays that I share on my YouTube channel. They're things that I've actually written down first, or they're based on essays that I've written or other research that I've conducted. But what I want to mention here today as the loss is the multiple times that I have started and stopped writing, leaving a book unfinished, and sometimes getting even 80, 90, 100 pages into the book. So these were not always 10 pages and done, but things that I spent significant time on, one of which I took several years off and on writing and ultimately gave up. I lost the plot, so to speak, and just couldn't seem to finish what I started. And this is something that I think has brought me a not insignificant amount of consternation over the years. And it's something that I continue to grapple with. Why am I able to create and produce so many videos? Why am I able to create and produce so many articles? In total, equaling far more than the sum of the pages of a book, and yet the book remains the ever elusive creative goal. And so I want to properly place the win within the broader context of losses. And I think that's why I made this video, is in order to not only frame my own wins in terms of my own losses, but also to help you frame your losses and your wins. And when it comes to your wins, I think it's important to frame them in humility, to frame them in a forward-thinking, open-minded sense that allows for continued growth. And then when talking about our losses, I think we need to view them with an openness to learning, again, humility to actually take the lessons to heart that we learn, and I think an added pressure, an added drive to continue to progress and to heal. So thank you all for listening. I hope you enjoyed this video. And truly, thank you all for subscribing. If you're new here, please do subscribe and hit that notification bell as a way to say thank you. It helps more than you know because it trains the algorithm to feed you more of my content in your news feed. So if this is something that you appreciated, or if you have watched other videos of mine, which I recommend checking out here, or maybe it's here, both there and there, then please do let me know what you like best and what you'd like to see more of. So I am finishing this video on my last night in Rome and hope to have it released either later today or tomorrow. Oh, by the way, I crossed the Tiber yesterday. Literally at this time. Please subscribe. Thanks again. Oh, and of course, I already made another mistake and forgot to credit Become the Knight for the wonderful idea to focus on my own mistakes for this celebratory video. So while his videos, I think, took a slightly different direction than mine, the origin of the idea for this video was indeed as a result of a great chat with Become the Knight. So go check out his channel and give him a subscribe as a thank you as well from me. So, oh, and I had a zit on my nose when I recorded the whole time, didn't realize it. So, you know, humanity hurts sometimes.